The basement door was open. Just a crack. I didn't leave it that way. The air coming through felt wrong. Cold. Thick. Like something had been breathing down there for hours, waiting for me to notice. I stood at the top of the stairs, listening, and then I heard it. A slow, wet dragging sound. Something being pulled across concrete. Closer. Halloween night has always carried something with it. Something old. Something that doesn't care about costumes or candy. For most people, it's just another night. But for some, it's the night when the line between this world and something else gets thin. So thin you can feel it pressing against your skin. Tonight, I'm sharing 9 true stories. 9 encounters that happened on Halloween. Stories that were never supposed to be told, because the people who lived them, some of them didn't make it through the night, and the ones who did, they never celebrated Halloween again. These aren't legends. These aren't folklore. These are the nights that ended in pure terror. Before we go any further into the dark, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because here at Chills from Reality, every story leaves a mark, one you might not forget. And trust me, you'll want to be ready for what comes next. The first story comes from a small town in rural Pennsylvania. October 31st, 1994. A woman named Carol was handing out candy to trick-or-treaters. Normal night, porch light on, bowl of fun-sized chocolate bars. Her husband was working late. Her daughter Emily was upstairs getting ready for a party. Around 7:30, the doorbell rang. Carol opened it. 3 kids stood on the porch, 2 dressed as ghosts, 1 as a scarecrow. Standard costumes, white sheets, painted burlap mask, but something felt off. The kids didn't say trick or treat. They didn't move. They just stood there, staring. Carol smiled, dropped candy into their bags. The scarecrow tilted its head, slowly, too slowly, like it was studying her. Then it spoke. Its voice was low, adult, wrong. It said, "Thank you for inviting us in." Carol froze. She hadn't invited anyone in. She never did. The door was still half open, and that's when she realized all 3 of them had already stepped inside. She backed up, heart pounding. The 2 ghosts moved to either side of the hallway, silent, blocking the stairs. The scarecrow stayed in front of her, breathing. She could hear it breathing through the mask, heavy, wet. Carol tried to speak. Her throat closed. The scarecrow reached up, pulled the mask off. Underneath was a face she didn't recognize, pale, sunken eyes, mouth stretched too wide. It smiled and said, "We've been waiting all year for this." Emily screamed from upstairs. Carol spun around, ran for the stairs. The 2 ghosts grabbed her. She fought, kicked, tore at the sheets. But underneath, there was nothing. Just air, just cold. She fell, hit the floor hard. The scarecrow crouched beside her, leaned in close, whispered something in her ear, something she never repeated. Not to police, not to family, not to anyone. When her husband came home an hour later, he found Carol sitting on the kitchen floor, rocking back and forth, the front door wide open. Emily was gone. They never found her. No evidence, no witnesses, no leads. The only thing left behind was a burlap mask, sitting on the bottom stair, still damp, still warm. Carol moved out of state 2 months later. She never spoke about that night again. But neighbors say that every Halloween, she locks every door, covers every window, and sits in the dark, waiting, just in case they come back. The second story happened in Oregon, October 31st, 2003. A group of college students decided to explore an abandoned farmhouse outside of town. It was a dare, a stupid tradition. Every Halloween, someone went out there, took photos, came back with a story. This year it was Jake, his girlfriend Mara, and 2 friends, Chris and Lindsay. They arrived just after midnight. The house stood alone at the end of a long dirt road. No lights for miles, no cell service. Perfect, they thought. They pushed open the front door. It swung in with a long, slow creak. Inside, the air was stale. Dust hung in the beams of their flashlights like fog. The furniture was still there. Couches, tables, picture frames on the walls, like someone just walked out one day and never came back. They split up. Jake and Mara went upstairs. Chris and Lindsay stayed on the main floor. For the first 10 minutes, nothing happened. Then Lindsay found the basement door. It was locked, padlocked from the outside. She called Chris over. They looked at each other. Why would you lock a basement from the outside? Chris pried it open with a crowbar they found in the kitchen. The door swung in. A long staircase descended into darkness. Cold air rushed up. It smelled like earth, like something buried. They went down, slowly, step by step. At the bottom, the basement opened into a wide, dirt floor room, and in the center was a chair, a wooden chair, facing the stairs. There were scratches all over the floor around it, deep grooves, like someone had been dragged over and over. Lindsay backed up. Chris aimed his flashlight at the walls. That's when they saw the writing, carved into the wood, over and over. The same phrase. "He comes on Halloween." Lindsay's breath caught. Chris turned. The chair was facing them now. Neither of them had touched it. They ran, up the stairs, into the hallway, screaming for Jake and Mara. But when they reached the top, the front door was closed. They tried to open it. It wouldn't move. Locked. From the outside, Jake and Mara came running down the stairs. Everyone was yelling, panicking, and then the lights went out. Not their flashlights, the house lights. Lights that hadn't worked in years. Old bulbs flickered on, dim, yellow, buzzing. The air grew heavy, thick. Lindsay felt something brush past her, cold, fast. She spun around, nothing, just shadows. And then they heard it, footsteps, slow, dragging, coming from the basement. Chris moved toward the door, the basement door. It was open, wide open. Something stood at the bottom of the stairs, tall, thin, hunched. It didn't move. It just watched. Mara screamed. The thing tilted its head and smiled. Then it started climbing. They ran, all four of them, smashing windows, kicking doors. Jake broke through a side window, cut his arm open, didn't care. They tumbled out into the cold night air, ran to the car, didn't look back. When they finally stopped, miles down the road, Chris realized something. Lindsay wasn't with them. They called her name, checked the car. She was gone. They went back the next morning, with police. The house was empty. No scratches, no writing, no basement chair, and no Lindsay. She was never found. But every year on Halloween, her phone gets a text from her own number. It always says the same thing. "I'm still in the basement. Would you have gone inside? Would you have opened that door?" Let me know in the comments if you think you'd survive. The third story comes from a Halloween party in Austin, Texas. October 31st, 2008. A guy named Derek hosted a big party at his house. Costumes, music, too many people. Around 11, someone showed up dressed as a plague doctor. Full black robe, leather gloves, the mask, the long beaked mask. No one knew who it was. People assumed it was someone's friend. The plague doctor didn't talk, didn't drink, just stood in the corner, watching. Derek's girlfriend Haley thought it was creepy. She asked around. No one invited him. No one knew him. She walked up to him, asked who he was. The plague doctor turned slowly, stared at her through the dark eye holes of the mask, said nothing, then reached into his robe, pulled out a small piece of paper, handed it to her. Haley opened it. It was a list. Names, 12 names, handwritten. Her name was at the top. She looked up. The plague doctor was gone. She searched the house, asked people if they saw where he went. No one did. She kept the list, folded it up, tried to forget about it. But 2 weeks later, the second name on the list died. Car accident. Then the third, heart attack. Then the fourth, overdose. One by one, Haley watched them die. She went to the police, showed them the list. They couldn't do anything. No evidence, no threats, just names. By the time the 8th person died, Haley stopped sleeping, stopped going out. She knew she was first. She knew it was coming. On Halloween night, 2009, exactly 1 year later, Haley locked herself in her apartment, covered the windows, barricaded the door. At midnight, her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. It said, "I'm outside." She looked through the peephole. No one. Another text. "I'm inside." She spun around. The apartment was empty. She grabbed a knife, checked every room, closets, bathroom. Nothing. Then she saw it. On her kitchen table, a plague doctor mask. She never put it there. She didn't own one. She backed away. Her phone buzzed again. Turn around. She didn't. She ran. Out the door, down the hallway, into the street. She never went back. The apartment was found empty. The mask was gone. Haley's name was crossed off the list, but the list wasn't finished. The last name on it, still alive, still waiting, and every Halloween, they get a message. I'm coming. The fourth story happened in Louisiana. October 31st, 1987. A man named Raymond was driving home from work. Long country road, no streetlights, just trees. Around 10:30, his headlights caught something on the side of the road. A kid, maybe 8 years old, dressed as a cowboy, standing alone, in the middle of nowhere. Raymond slowed down, rolled down his window, asked if the kid was okay. The kid didn't answer, just stared. Raymond got out, walked over. The kid's face was pale, too pale, eyes wide, unblinking. Raymond crouched down, asked where his parents were. The kid pointed, down the road, into the trees. Raymond looked, saw nothing, just darkness. When he turned back, the kid was gone. Raymond searched, called out. Nothing. He got back in his car, started driving. A few miles down, he saw something in his rearview mirror. The kid, sitting in the back seat. Raymond slammed on the brakes, spun around. The back seat was empty. His heart pounded. He kept driving, faster, but every time he looked in the mirror, the kid was there, sitting, staring. Raymond pulled over, got out, checked the back seat. Nothing. No one. He got back in. The kid was in the passenger seat now. Raymond screamed, swerved, lost control. The car went off the road, flipped. When he woke up, he was in a ditch, bleeding, alone. He crawled out, walked to the nearest house, pounded on the door. An old woman answered. He told her what happened. She went pale, told him to leave. Now. He asked why. She said that boy died on this road 30 years ago. Halloween night. He's looking for someone to stay with him. Raymond left, drove straight to the hospital, never took that road again. But some say the kid's still there, every Halloween, waiting. And if you stop, he gets in, and he doesn't leave. The fifth story comes from a small suburb in Ohio. October 31st, 2012. A woman named Angela was home alone. Her husband was out of town. Her kids were at a friend's house for a sleepover. She decided to stay in, watch a movie, hand out candy. Around 9, the doorbell rang. She opened it. A little girl stood on the porch, maybe 6 years old, dressed as a fairy, pink wings, glitter, but her face was wrong, too still, like a doll. Angela smiled, dropped candy in her bag. The little girl didn't move, just stared. Angela asked if she was okay. The girl nodded, slowly, then said, "Can I come inside?" Angela hesitated. Something felt off. She said, "I think your parents are waiting for you." The girl tilted her head. "I don't have parents anymore." Angela's stomach dropped. She tried to close the door. The girl's hand shot out, grabbed the edge. Her grip was strong, too strong. Angela pulled. The door wouldn't move. The girl leaned in, whispered, "Please, it's cold out here, let me in." Angela screamed, slammed her weight into the door. It finally closed. She locked it, backed away. The doorbell rang again, and again, and again. Angela ran to the window, peeked through the curtain. The girl was standing in the yard, staring at the house, not moving. Angela called the police, told them everything. They arrived 20 minutes later. The yard was empty. No footprints, no evidence. But when Angela checked her security camera the next morning, the girl was there, standing at the door, for hours, just standing, staring, waiting. Angela moved out 2 weeks later. The house sat empty for years, until a new family moved in. On their first Halloween, the doorbell rang. The mother opened it. A little girl stood on the porch, dressed as a fairy. If this story gave you chills, hit that like button, because we're not even halfway through. And trust me, it only gets worse from here. The sixth story comes from a farmhouse in Montana. October 31st, 1998. A family of 4, parents and 2 kids. They lived miles from town. Quiet, isolated. That Halloween, they stayed home. No trick-or-treaters ever made it that far out. Around midnight, the father, Jim, heard something outside. A scraping sound, metal on wood. He grabbed a flashlight, went out onto the porch. Nothing, just wind, just darkness. Then he saw it, scratched into the side of the barn. 3 words, "We are here." Jim's blood went cold. He ran inside, locked the doors, Told his wife, Karen. She called the sheriff. No answer. Lines were down. Jim checked every window, every door. Everything was locked. He sat down in the living room, loaded his shotgun, waited. An hour passed. Nothing. Then the power went out. Complete darkness. The kids started crying upstairs. Karen ran to them. Jim stayed downstairs, listening. The front door creaked. Slowly, Jim aimed the shotgun. The door was still closed, but the creaking continued, like something was testing it, pushing. Jim yelled, "I've got a gun! Leave now!" Silence. Then a voice from outside, deep, calm. It said, "We're already inside." Jim spun around, checked the back door, locked, the windows, locked, but the voice was right. It was inside, coming from upstairs. Jim ran. Karen was standing in the hallway, pale, shaking. She pointed to the kids' bedroom. The door was open, the window was open. The kids were gone. Jim screamed, searched the house, nothing. He ran outside, into the fields, calling their names. Karen collapsed, sobbing. When the sheriff finally arrived the next morning, the kids were found, in the barn, asleep, unharmed. But they couldn't remember anything, couldn't explain how they got there. The only thing they said was that someone came into their room, someone tall, someone smiling, and told them, "It's time to play." The seventh story happened in New Mexico, October 31st, 2015. A guy named Marcus was hiking alone in the desert. He wanted to watch the sunset. Stupid decision. By the time he started back, it was dark. No moon, no stars, just blackness. He turned on his phone's flashlight, started walking. Then he heard it. Footsteps. Behind him. He stopped. The footsteps stopped. He started again. They started again. Marcus spun around, aimed his light. Nothing. Just sand, just rocks. He kept walking, faster. The footsteps got closer, louder. He started running. His lungs burned, his legs ached. He tripped, fell. His phone flew out of his hand, landed a few feet away, the light still on. And in the beam, he saw shoes, old, worn, standing right in front of him. Marcus looked up. A figure loomed over him, tall, thin, face hidden in shadow. It bent down, slowly. Its breath was cold, rancid. It whispered, "You shouldn't be here." Marcus scrambled back, grabbed his phone, ran, didn't stop, didn't look back. When he finally reached his car, he locked the doors, hands shaking. He looked in the rearview mirror. The figure was standing in the road, watching. Marcus drove, fast. He didn't stop until he hit the highway. But when he got home, he found something in his pocket, something he didn't put there. A small stone, smooth, cold, with a symbol carved into it. He threw it away. But the next morning, it was back, on his nightstand. He threw it away again. It came back, again and again. Marcus doesn't hike anymore. He doesn't go outside after dark, because every Halloween, the stone appears, and with it, the footsteps, right outside his door. The eighth story comes from a high school in Michigan, October 31st, 2006. A group of seniors decided to break into the school after hours. It was a tradition. They'd done it before. But this year, something was different. They got in through a side door, wandered the dark hallways, laughing, taking pictures. Then one of them, a girl named Sophie, noticed something. A classroom door was open. Room 213. It was always locked. No one used it. Hadn't been used in years. Sophie walked in. The desks were covered in dust. The chalkboard was blank, except for one thing, written in the corner, in fresh chalk. "Get out!" Sophie backed up. Her friends crowded in. They all saw it. Someone laughed, said it was a prank. But then the door slammed shut. They tried to open it. It wouldn't move. Locked from the outside. They pounded, yelled. No one answered. The lights flickered. Once, twice, then stayed on. Dim, buzzing. That's when they saw her. A girl, standing in the corner, facing the wall. Long hair, pale dress. She wasn't moving. Sophie called out. No answer. One of the guys walked over, reached out, touched her shoulder. The girl spun around. Her face was wrong. Eyes black, mouth open, too wide. She screamed. A sound that wasn't human, wasn't anything. They all ran, threw themselves at the door. It finally burst open. They ran down the hallway, out of the school, into the parking lot. When they looked back, the lights in room 213 were off, but they could see her, standing at the window, watching them leave. The school board sealed the room the next week, permanently, no explanation. But students say that every Halloween, you can still hear her, screaming, from inside the walls. The 9th story is the one that stays with me. October 31st, 2018. A man named David was working late. Office building, downtown, empty floors, just him. Around 11:30, he decided to leave. Packed up, headed to the elevator, pressed the button, the doors opened. Inside was a woman, dressed in old-fashioned clothes, Victorian, black lace, pale skin. She smiled. David hesitated. Something felt wrong, but he got in anyway, pressed the ground floor. The elevator started down. The woman didn't move, didn't blink, just smiled. David tried to make small conversation, asked if she was heading to a party. She didn't answer, just kept staring. The elevator stopped. 7th floor. The doors opened. No one was there. They closed, started moving again, stopped. 5th floor. Opened, empty, closed. 3rd floor. Opened, empty. David's heart raced. He looked at the woman. She was closer now. He didn't see her move, but she was closer. The elevator stopped. 1st floor. The doors opened. David ran, out into the lobby, into the street. He looked back. The woman was standing in the elevator, still smiling. The doors closed. David never went back to that building, quit the next day. But 6 months later, he saw her again, on the subway, just standing, staring, smiling. He got off, ran. She didn't follow. But every time he rides the subway now, he sees her, in the reflection, in the glass, standing behind him, getting closer. And one day, he knows she'll be close enough to touch. These 9 stories, 9 nights, 9 people who thought Halloween was just another night. They were wrong, because some nights the door between this world and whatever's on the other side stays open, and the things that come through, they don't leave. They wait, they watch, and when the next Halloween comes, they come back, stronger, closer, hungrier. So before you turn off the lights tonight, make sure you lock your doors, check your windows, and whatever you do, don't answer the door after midnight, because you never know who or what is standing on the other side. If this video left you looking over your shoulder, hit that like button and subscribe. Here at Chills from Reality, the stories are real, the fear is real, and it never truly ends. Stay safe out there, and remember, some costumes aren't costumes at all.